Hello and welcome to another video where today we're taking a look at a Haven Seraph deck. So it does run a similar engine to the Elena deck, although it does top out fairly differently here, running the, of course, Mad Elion and, of course, the Glorious Seraph, along with a few other support cards that really does help this deck, like Passing of Law, and a few other things like Sealed Tomb and that to really help support the archetype and get it off the ground, along with Hollow Dogma, of course. It really does do quite a good job. I was actually quite surprised with how well this deck was doing for me when I was playing it. I didn't expect it to perform great, but turns out it's actually not too bad. So we're going to get right into it and check it out. So my first matchup here is against Blood. Not too bad a kind of matchup to have, honestly, once you start considering what cards are in the deck. And Golden Bell, Falcon, and Unicorn are actually pretty decent starting cards. If you can ever get Golden Bell on turn 1, you're usually going to be in the positive. And Unicorn Knight on turn 2 is actually fairly decent as well, giving you a 4-drop removal along, 3-drop removal that deals 4, so you can heal as well. And obviously, being a little weird there for the replay, making Unicorn Spear look like it's completely freaking out. Robo-Goblin, that's okay. Banishing, coming in. No need to worry about the value that they're trying to get out of it. Would have been better on the Armored Bat though. I probably should have thought that through at least a little bit. Luckily Mad here does a wonderful job of transforming the Bat, which again removes all its value. Makes it little to no issue. Gear Snake, though, does crush a lot of our hopes and dreams here. At least Unicorn Spear, not too much of an issue. And a cheap low drop to transform into our own little Elion of Madness totem. So, a Totem of Madness, sorry. There you go. We're actually running 2 Haven decks. There's this one, and then there's an Evo Haven that I want to go over, and that's going to be next video, so that runs a similar package, but interesting. Flawed Saint. Not bad, honestly. Flawed Saint can be part of your win condition, other than Seraph, if you fail to either draw it, in which case we have it now, but it's not a bad option for you. Also, it helps you drop Seraph to 7. Or potentially make her lower by that point, which means you can get it out earlier. And the earlier you can get Seraph out, the less you have to worry. So we did get a good lucky 50-50, but it wouldn't have mattered too much. I would have just evolved the Seraph and killed it off anyway, so it would have been about the same value. And that did win us the game. We didn't even need it from there. Obviously, Blood wasn't going to have much fun trying to deal with it, and was pretty much ready to lose. Next up, we are going up against a Shadow. Not too big an issue for most decks Shadowcraft these days. The most dangerous Shadowcraft decks I can possibly think of right now are usually Hades Shadows, because they have so much potential damage built up on board. But even those aren't too big a threat. They're usually just, I think, a little worse than mid-range in the current meta at least. So taking the Healing Prayer turn 1, since I don't have any other play, and Healing Prayer supports this deck pretty well, both giving us a decent healing, along with dropping, of course, amulet costs. Hoverboard Mercenary is going to do a pretty good job. I actually have really enjoyed Hoverboard Mercenary for any kind of deck that wants to run any kind of Machina engine. It does a good job. We don't really have a lot more to play, which is a bit disappointing. Flawed Saint is looking to be one of our best options going forward. So maybe going through and full on focusing on going for the Aegis for this one instead of the Seraph, since we firstly don't have Seraph in our hand, and secondly Aegis is going to be pretty easy to get out here looking at our current cards. A nice Cerberus trade-off. 5-5 into a 6-3. I'll take that. And we've still got the Keel, which will actually do a pretty nice job no matter how I want to play him out. but I decided to go for the Machina followers here. Just try and get the value out of them. I'm not too worried about holding an Evo or anything now, since this deck doesn't really worry about it. It's more about getting value out of them, and that's what I was trying to do here, get some decent value. Roaring Thunder, not a bad option for them, and not the end of the world for us, which is good. So we go a Holy Bow, mixed in with what's going to be a couple of Salvations. This will give us some good spread. And why not set up the little bit of draw power? So there's the Hades play. Considering the cards we'd seen, Hades was starting to become more and more predictable as something they'd be aiming to get. Now we didn't really get anything else, which is a little disappointing, but we can go all in on the Machina cards. And potentially some extra draw too, just in case we try and aim for Seraph. Because at this point in the game we may as well take both. We did it with the Seraph, so maybe taking that route would be the better one here. So unless they can deal with the Seraph by transformation, literally the only way it can be dealt with, then I shouldn't have too big an issue. So having it on board, definitely working to our favour. I decided not to use Salvation. I decided may as well wait till next turn, see what they play, and then work from there. So they managed to transform. Super disappointed by that. Impressive that they managed to pull it off, but not great that it had to happen now. At least on the bright side, Heavenly Argus is immune to the transformation, making it basically a couple of turns where I dominate the board space. So either way, this actually worked in our favour. And now I get to go face. So it's pretty much any follower they're playing right now is going to be transformed into a zombie. The only way to actually deal any damage to things is by Evo. And now we can kind of block up their board a little bit and generate at least some health for ourselves, just in case they potentially could have went for more Hades and kind of locked us out of damage. Also, I went for the double Unicorn Spear in case they play a card I need to get rid of. And that was enough to end up with the concede, so turns out that was definitely the right way to take this match in the end. So this deck was definitely fun and performed a lot better than I was initially expecting it to. Lapis Glory and the Argus kind of combinations work really well together and are very easy to pull off, and once you kind of get the pattern down for what cards to kind of go with in what section of the match, it's not too bad at all. There's not really any major counters, and other than getting banished once the amulet hits the board, it's not really an issue. Most people are wasting the banishments in some other way or just not using them, and once you can get Argus out anyway, it's not really going to matter. They could waste a turn banishing Glory and you could immediately follow up with Seraph, so with Argus, so not much issue there. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Until next time guys, see ya!